effort of the Cougars. Dennis is in the house, and what we're going to do with Dennis, we're not going to beat around the bush. He's going to be with us in just a second when he finally joins us permanently here. Not going to be around the bush tonight. We're going to go right to it. We're into the playoff picture. Dennis is, he's got his numbers. He talked to Don, and Don said he would have this for us. So Dennis is ready. Dennis, playoff picture. It is cloudy because of what happened to Dudley this week. First of all, let's get that editorial that we used to get from Gene Bohau when he managed Channel 48. And we used to get it from Harry Reesner. Used to get this from Mike Wallace. Let's get your Dudley editorial. Dudley done right or Dudley done wrong?
Yeah, and I think that this situation at Dudley was done wrong. There should have been consequences. I think that thousands of supporters will support this statement that they should have been dealt with consequences. But I think that it was a little harsh. The consequences was right. They broke the rule. But suspending this season, I think that was a little too harsh. But, when you look at Friday night, when you and I left Tarplin Stadium, we was looking forward for Dudley to visit that stadium 3 or 4 more times.
It's going to seem unusual not going back in there tomorrow night, to be honest with you. It's going to seem a little bit unusual.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we look at you and I, we've talked, I think, Andy, this have stopped everybody that loves sports for this beginning of this week and was looking at how this thing was going to turn out. Everybody had their analysts. We was almost like Sigmund Freud. We was like psychoanalysts. We was like analyzing it. We had couch therapy with each other, wondering how this thing going to turn out.
People were looking ahead, see who Dudley was going to be playing next week.
Absolutely.
They felt like they beat Rags in the first round. They'd be hosting possibly Mooresville in the second round and be home for the entire playoffs.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. And Andy, when you look at deliberation, I'm a firm believer. Anytime there's a long deliberation, you're going to come up short because they give them time to look at more. Something. Absolutely. A quick verdict always come back in your favor, but this time, and I love the whole community that rally around Dudley. Everybody that I've talked with, even in local papers, on the website, on social media.
Now, you said you were impressed with the stance and the approach that Ed Harden took.
Yeah, Ed Harden took a very good stance. News and Reporter, Greensboro News and Record normally does not show the consistency that they did. Ed Harden day after day stated that it was unfair, stated that they was treated that was unjustifiable. It was justifiable to do it, but justice did not reach the Tarplin family over at Tarplin Stadium like it should. And I agree with Ed 100%.
Does this change any now that they come out today and say that the ineligible player could have well participated in as many as 4 games? Does that change any now, the way we felt about what happened with Dudley throughout the week? Does that change it at all today?
Well, I think that if they allow that to now come out, if you go back and cancel those 4 games, how much leverage will they give what 4 games that they play in? Where would you go? Would it be the conference game? Now it really doesn't matter. I think the only thing that mattered was at hand was the Southeast game and the Ragsdale game. The other 4 games out there's validity there if they go back, but that was not the reason that the suspension took place for 4 games. The suspension took place because of the eligible player in the Southeast game. So if you go back, you have to pull every team in Gifford County and surrounding areas.
Like you talked about before, since they were looking so deeply into this, as you said, they began to find more things.
Yeah, absolutely. They began to find more things and more violation, and I think this was enough. I think that the committee will say, okay, we've already issued out penalty that a lot of people's not happy with. Let's not do insult to injury. Let's just.
What do you think Dudley's got to do to get the house back in order?
Start over, back in the weight room. Go through this thing with integrity. Go through this thing with your mindset that, hey, it happened. Let's move forward. Moving forward, and it begins with grief. They're going to grieve because they're kids. And you have to, I think the kids going to need more counseling than people can think because kids are hurt. Kids are resilient. Certainly, they can bounce back. But I think that we can't leave a therapy session out for these kids. They need to have our on-school counselor to talk with these kids, whether they need it or not. because this can really deter kids from football. This can deter kids because they was being good sportsmen. You know, you punish 99, you punish all 99 for what the 98th one done. You know, for what the 100th one done.
Yeah, I was thinking about that on the website, talking about that from, I think, yesterday, early this morning. You get all those kids in practice, one kid messes up, and you say, Coach says, get on, everybody runs, but that one kid's mistake.
Right, absolutely. And is that fair? That is the approach that coaches take. And when we look at the whole outcome of this thing, Dudley Panther family, I think this brought them closer together than ever before. Tarpley Stadium has always been packed. Tarpley Stadium has always been well supported. And I think now this is going to bring, and they're going to open up other avenues to look at the head of the Dudley football program now, the athletic director and the coach.
That's what I was asking about. How do you get your house in order?
Yeah, the way that you do it is you may have to make some changes. There may be some changes with the AD. There may be some changes. Do you change? I think the AD should be held accountable for this. Coach Davis, certainly he had his part in it. But the AD, when you look at your JV players, when JV season was over, doing that Tuesday, he should have had a list. Send it to Coach Davis. This is the state rule. If you're going to play JV players, this is the rule. Let's look at the rule and let's think this thing over. This is from athletic director. This is to the coaches.
That's on what day now?
That should have been done on Tuesday, the last Tuesday before Thursday. Absolutely. Before your regular season game, this is the time you do this stuff on Tuesday or Wednesday. When Friday night comes, it's too late.
Oh yeah, and Saturday comes, you're way late.
Saturday, you're way late. And I think, Andy, it's just taking 5 minutes to say, this is the state rule on JV players. You know now you're going to be watched. You got an opportunity to win your second straight championship game, and take 5 minutes out of publication. And I think, Andy, we wouldn't be having this conversation if someone let that. Sure, it was an honest mistake, but someone let it slip through the cracks.
And after what happened with Northern Guilford last year, when they were docked 2 weeks' pay, to lose some of your work, they were docked 2 weeks' pay for 2 wins last year. You would think maybe the county would have sent something out to the schools prior to the season beginning, when you first began to play your games, and reminded them about what happened last year, since it already happened to a certain degree in a similar way just 1 year ago.
Yeah, absolutely, and I agree with you 1,000%. And this thing could have been handled several different ways. As you said, when that warning goes out, the Guilford County schools, this happened to Northern. We always talk about fair play. Every ball game we're at, Guilford County, fair play. Guilford County, fair play. Yeah. Now, why don't you use that same systematic system of fair play into rule play? These are the rules. And I think a lot of people take for granted that the coaches know the rules of the game, but you can get caught up, as Dudley got caught up.
There are often changes in the rules from year to year, too, so it's maybe a rule interpretation. Everything changed about that rule from what it was last year.
Absolutely. And Andy, through all of this, this is what I came up with. You have a trainer. You have managers. Yeah. Now you get you someone, a rule keeper.
Compliance.
Yeah, absolutely. Compliance coordinator. Absolutely. That is going to keep you in compliance. That every game, before every game, this is the rule. And one of the things that I do, Andy, the first week of track practice, I go over the rules. I teach. I think, and I was taught that the rules. You can't play the game if you don't know the rules.
Right.
You want to have
a play it, but you're playing it wrong.
You're playing it wrong,
and
you'll get penalized.
Have it taken away.
Yeah. And you look at this thing, and do you blame Coach Davis? Do you blame that kid? We can sit here and say who to blame. It's already happened.
Let me ask, do you blame Southeast Guilford? A lot of people are coming down hard on Southeast Guilford. Yeah.
That's a very good point. I blame Southeast to a certain degree, that they could have handled it another way. I think, you and I both coaches in the 4A Metro Conference. We both have these knockout, drag-out matches. I'll come to you that Saturday and say, listen, Coach, I saw this on film. I'm not going to report it, but if you continue this is what's going to happen. Yeah. Shake his hand, walk out the door. Now, if they could continue it and don't take heed to what the coach said, now it's on Dudley. But yeah, I think Southeast shouldn't have been a whistleblower in in that from that aspect.
The way they handled it was
the way
wrong.
they handled it was wrong. Dead wrong.
Sometimes people hang on to bits of information waiting for the correct time just to spring it loose as well.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Andy, that there are people that plot to sabotage other success, and could this been a plot to sabotage Dudley's success? Because it had no legalities on the outcome of this game. The game was over.
Right. There was no doubt about the
45
outcome, 50-21.
Right, so the outcome was over. This game was over. And I cannot see anything to give Southeastern a reason to do this to the Panthers other than you did wrong. We know you did wrong, and this got to stop. We're going to beat you one way or another. We're going to beat you in the past. We lost in the past, so we're going to beat you out in the past. We're going to beat you by scrutinizing everything you've done, not following the rule book. They looked over probably before the game and was watching. I guarantee you, they had somebody watching these players, JV players. They took down the numbers Friday night. Thursday night, Friday, they out there, coach, they out there. Okay, let's not say anything. Let's see what they're gonna do. They're already guilty because they're dressing now. Now, if one of them run into this ball game, you watch that, and when they go in there, you let us know. Now we got it on film that these guys actually played. So I think if the 4 players being dressed out wasn't the issue, I think the player going into the game was the issue.
And they still say it goes back to the rule, though. If you're dressed out, you're considered having been in the game, even though you don't even play.
Absolutely, and that's the thing.
So you can't be in 2 games in the same week, like you talked about before, a little bit tonight, and you and I have talked about this in the past. Why not have a separate JV team and a separate varsity team? I know some schools have trouble with numbers, but try to get yourself a separate JV team. Even if you get your lunch handed to you in a paper basket every game and get killed, have a separate JV team and a separate varsity team. Try that.
You are right, Andy Durham. I hadn't said that all year. You're right. I always say absolutely, but now I'm going back to my old word. You're right, because have your JV squad. Only time they touch the field is on Thursdays.
Yeah.
Have your varsity squad. Your varsity squad is Friday. If you have 9th and 10th graders that are excellent, that can play varsity, once you sign that you're going to be a varsity player, no more JV. You would take a chance.
If you move up to varsity, now you're varsity.
Now you're varsity.
You don't go back to JV.
You don't go back to JV. Friday night is totally separate from Thursday.
In the last week of the season, if you're going to join for the playoffs, you cannot join until the regular season. All regular season games are over.
Until the seedings come out.
Yeah.
When the seedings is out, then you can
Meet
dress
me
up.
Saturday morning. Man.
Absolutely. And the thing it is, no JV players on the field, no ball boys, with no jersey, no JV players around. JV players sit in the stand and observe. You get in the game free, sit in the stands and observe. I wouldn't have nothing to do with a JV. I would even go as far as my a lot of varsity coaches are JV coaches. This is your job. JV is all yours. You make sure no JVs come on this field on Friday night with a jersey on at all. Because if you step on that field with a jersey on now, what's the rule going to state now?
Even like a ball boy, like you said.
Absolutely.
Got a jersey on.
Absolutely. Don't have anything on street clothes. If you're going to be there, be in street clothes.
What do you think, I mean, in your infinite wisdom here, being a minister, being a director of a group home and working a lot of kids, you're in the Dudley community and a lot of people over there. How do you see this ending up? How's this going to turn out? What can Dudley do? They really can't do a whole lot now because the season's been lost. They've lost the season. But what do you see happening in the future?
I think the first thing they need to do is send letters to Coach Stephen Davis, telling him thank you.
The parents?
Yeah, the parents.
The people in the community?
People in the community as well. Let Stephen Davis know how much he needs us now more than ever.
How much he's
he needs the community. Absolutely. He needs the people that he have brought excitement back to their school. He have put Dudley football back on the map. So now don't abandon this guy now. Do not leave him out now. Absolutely. Don't do him like that now. Try anything to keep him there. So I think the thing that they need to do now is rally around these kids, rally around and let them know that they are appreciated. The biggest thing about when someone is grieving, have empathy. Empathy is putting yourself in their shoes. Feel for them. be there for them, support them, because we was rallying behind them when they was bringing 3 state championships to Gifford County.
Yeah.
So they need you now. I think the support now, anytime you're going through a crisis, support group is the basics they're going to help you get through. So they need a support system right now. So what the community can do right now, support Dudley.
Is there a dark cloud over the Dudley campus
Yes,
right now?
it is. It really is. It's a dark cloud. One of the things, Andy, that have brought this dark cloud was a mistake. First of all, nothing blatant. It was a mistake. Now, the second part of this is everybody was waiting on the North Carolina Coaches Association, North Carolina High School Athletic Association, to come back with a fair ruling.
Come back with that appeal.
Now, when that appeal failed, that made that cloud even darker, because now it's reality. Then they had another opportunity. Then now the dark cloud. And I hope, Andy, that people can put their emotions to the side, let it go. Don't have ill will towards Southeast. Don't have ill will towards the coach of Dudley or the athletic director. Let this thing play out. The kids, everybody have to understand that these are kids. We cannot leave the kids out. We're forgetting about the kids. We're putting our personal interest in it. I read one of the, I've been reading comments on everybody comment. And do you realize, Andy, no one has said anything negative to Dudley, about Dudley, real bad? I mean, I thought people was going to trash this thing. You clean it up real well. Nobody have really came out and just been dogmatic about this thing. Everybody been sympathy towards Dudley Panthers.
They should.
Absolutely. And showing their love and their fortitude. Northern Gifford, Don and I just looked on social media. Northern Gifford is going to wear a yellow sticker recognizing Dudley Panthers on their helmet.
That's nice.
That is great.
That's a good thing.
Coach Roscoe's a class act, man.
He's been down the road too. He knows how a lot of this stuff is. He's been there.
Yeah, and I think these coaches have a lot of sympathy for Coach Davis.
Should we do this? I mean, this is a very drastic measure, drastic move. But should we go ahead and take the High Point Christian Academy guys we had here tonight, take yourself and Don and me and anybody else we could get, and go to Dudley, and let's just boycott every high school game played tomorrow night, and we'll play that exhibition game at Dudley and let everybody get in for free. We may outdraw every game in the county.
Absolutely, we will. We'll be the big show in town, you know.
Taking that a step further, getting back on more of a serious note, your prediction, where do you see the Dudley players going tomorrow night, and where do you see the Dudley coaches? Where will they be tomorrow night when these games are being held and being played and they're not playing at all?
If I'm Dudley coaches, Andy, I'm going to have the biggest party, pizza party, away from football, at the school, at the gym.
Okay.
Take the kids to the gym, have a good time. These kids don't need to go to a football game because they're not healed
mess
yet.
their mind up,
I mean,
right?
It really will, because mentally, you do not want to go back and watch a house fire if you were just in a house fire.
Yeah.
You know,
that's a good point. That's a good point there.
You know, the thing about it, healing takes time.
It's going to be hard to convince them to do that, I think. They're going to want to be at a game so bad. They want to be in it. We all want to be at a game right now because we're still wired up about what's happened this week. And it's not just because it's Dudley, it's just because it's football, man. Right. You want to play and you have it taken away.
Absolutely. I mean, and you can look at it that way. You may have a half of the guys that want to continue to go and support their other friends, and you may have some that say, no, I want to stay away because they've been traumatized. This is any traumatic experience. You don't want to relive it.
Can this be, in the end, can this be a learning moment, a positive experience? Can that come out of this? And we talked to the kids tonight from High Point Christian Academy, asked the kids, what is your purpose? You need to be called according to his purpose. What could be the learning moment, your learning experience, and what could be the purpose behind all this for the Dudley kids? Can they take something good out of this?
Absolutely. This can be a life lesson for them to abide by the rules, though. When you cut corners, this is what happens.
But the thing is now, man, I'm going to be the devil. I hate to do this under we're called according to God's purpose situation. I'll be the devil's advocate. I'm saying this. You say abide rules in all situations. As far as the kids were doing, they did.
Yeah, and the thing that they're going to take from this is, and that even though
we went by the rules, we did what we were told. Right. Why can't we play?
And it's because you become one. You're one unit.
Right. Okay.
You're one unit.
And
when you have on that Dudley
you're part
Panther,
of that team no matter what happens.
Absolutely. When you have on that Dudley Panther,
we go in that foxhole, and here comes that hand grenade from the enemy into that foxhole, and I'm thinking, man, I wasn't supposed to be in that. Why'd I get my arm blown up? I was supposed to be back at the barracks, back doing my work. They called me out. I wasn't supposed to be there. As soon as you set foot on that field, you're part of the team, right?
Yeah, you're part of the team. That's just like community watch group. My house may never have broken into, but still I'm part of the community watch group.
Watch the rest.
And we need to, absolutely. And the thing about it, Andy, they're one heartbeat. These kids, voice for one for one, and one for all. These kids are, and I think this is a lesson if you're working with a company.
Yeah.
And you see someone embezzling something, do you tell or walk away? You know, now it's a lot of life lessons. Yeah. One of the life lessons they're going to remember is now we do not abandon our leader. And no matter what happens, you stick with your leader. And I think these kids are going to learn that you stick with your leader.
A good man is probably involved in all this. His name hadn't come up any at all during the whole course of all these different discussions. But the guy's got, to me, he's always had good wisdom, always went by the book, very disciplined, stayed strong, and always encouraged these kids. And he pushed them over the edge a few times, but it was always for their best benefit. That's Coach McMillan. I like this because he's always been the guy who's been there and been with Coach Davis through the thick and the thin.
Absolutely. That's a drill sergeant is needed on every coaching staff. You need that drill sergeant. And Coach McMillan has certainly been very influential in that category. That is his role as a strength coach.
Good,
is
bad.
Absolutely.
No matter what.
No matter what. And Andy, I think that once these kids saw the community come to their rescue, once they saw open up news and records, go on GreensboroSports.com. Nobody is bashing these kids. Nobody's blaming these kids. And I think they feel good because guess what, Andy? These kids in the spotlight, off the field for doing something positive, for not acting out, not no ill will. They're not sending bad texts over to Southeast. They're not no ill will towards Southeast. So I think this thing has been kept under wraps real well because these kids could have really lost their dignity and respect in trash talking Southeast or threatening Southeast in any kind of way.
What's it been like in the media on the radio? I mean, 102 Jam, someone said Coach Davis made an appearance on there earlier during the week. I don't know what was said there, but I'm sure they hit him with some pretty hard questions. Who was on there?
Yeah, I think that Coach Davis is there again. Very level-headed young man, very respectful, and he wanted to get to his community. He wanted the absolutely. He wanted the community to know 5 things he did. Hey, we was not caught for doing anything illegal, such as kids staying out of district. Kids not having attendance. All these things that Dudley been on the microscope before, not academic. He wanted them to know it was a mistake. He's out on the horn. Hey, community, it was a mistake. Honest mistake happened.
So that shows again, too, anybody might be bashing Coach Davis or other parts of the coaching staff. He's taking responsibility.
He really is.
He's taking responsibility, and he's saying, "I'm responsible for what happened."
Absolutely. You know, Andy, that was a cruise ship a couple of years ago. The captain abandoned the ship. Coach Davis, he's an admiral. He's staying with his ship. You know, he is saying the last one abandoned the ship is the captain. He is certainly steering his ship in the right direction. He's going
to cut the lights out and everybody's gone
Absolutely, home. Absolutely. And the thing that, Andy, that I'm really a firm believer, how much stress is Coach Davis under in this situation?
He'd always used to have a real serious look on his face, but eventually he'd watch him over the course of an hour or two out there with him, around him, or whatever, the coaches and players. That smile would crack through there, but I don't think that smile's been there at all this week.
Absolutely. And this is one of the things that he want to pinch himself as you and I. Is this a dream?
Yeah.
You know, because it's a fairy tale season for Dudley, and now nightmare now. Yeah.
Nightmare on Lee Street. Yeah. Nightmare on Lincoln Street. If you want to be specific.
Yeah. And then the one thing I want to bring up to you that I talked about you during the course of the week. When you look at this whole situation, one thing every team should know, that the North Carolina High School Association is going to stick by their rule book.
Yeah, they're not going
to deviate from that rule book. And you said that to me loud and clear. You said they're going to go by the letter of the law, and certainly they did. They went by it.
Well, let's hit you right here on the playoff picture. We talked about the Dudley situation. Excellent input from Dennis White here at Shane's Radio Shack on a Thursday. Football in Focus. And again, Providence at Northwest. Go for Providence, 8-3. Northwest is 8-3. That's the number 9 versus number 8. Northwest gets a win. They'd have to hit the road next week, but it'd be great to win at home this week. Who do you think?
Yeah, Northwest with that passing attack. with the new coach, Coach Raffles. He's coming in a situation that he wants to show this community that this team can advance.
What about Page and Audrey Kell? Page 3-8. You flip it around. Audrey Kell 8-3. 6-seed Kell, 11-seed Page is down near Charlotte.
One of the things that Page have a tendency of doing, other than the Dudley game, playing the big teams a lot better than they have. They step up at the level of competition. And Andy, you and I always talk about that word jail. Can this be the time that the Page Pirates jail? Because we've seen it before. They went to the third round.
You said jail. I'm thinking about Jail. I don't want to go back in there again. But that jail, Gell or Jell with an O is good for me.
Absolutely.
So, but you're saying Kell?
Kell, Audrey Kell. Yeah.
What about Ragsdale 7-5 versus Mooresville or Charlotte Vance? Mooresville's 10-1, Vance is 8-3. Ragsdale now 7-5, the only unbeaten team. I wrote it down just today. Only 1-0 team in the state.
Only 1-0 team in the state.
Number 16 seed.
What a way to start out at 16 seed at the bottom. Now you at the top. Over a weekend, you do not have to play the most dangerous team. You walk through, you pass by Tarpley Stadium, wave at the lights out, and we have
go down Highway 85 south or go 77 north and headed over toward Mooresville tomorrow night.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's going to be a showdown for Ragsdale.
Here's a big one here. Raise our hands. How about High Point Central 8-3 at Southeast Guilford 9-2. Southeast 6 seed, Central 11. Who wins that one?
And not because of the allegation on Southeast. I'm going with High Point Central. Jamal Mack is going to be too much. We saw Southeast last week fall prey to Dudley Panthers sophomore quarterback Hendon Hooker, who does not have the abilities as a Jamal Mack, and Hendon Hooker ripped that secondary apart. Jamal Mack is going to have an outstanding night against Southeast. I'm going High Point Central.
What about Eastern Guilford at Terry Sanford? We don't know much about Terry Sanford at all. Eastern Guilford 7-4, 13 seed. Terry Sanford 8-3 record, number 4 seed.
Eastern Guilford has had 3 games that Eastern Guilford could have easily been ranked higher. Eastern Guilford could have been top.
10-1.
Absolutely. You are 100% on it. And so I think Sanford, we'll go with Terry. I want to stay with the home team, but Eastern has not. There's been Jekyll and Hyde, and you can't be Jekyll and Hyde.
Here.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
What about Northwood, a very tough Northwood Chargers team out of Pittsboro over at Northern Guilford. Northern Guilford 10-1, 7 seed. Northwood 9-2, a 10 seed.
Northern Guilford is going to be the team. They are already putting Dudley Panthers on the back of their helmets. They are saying that, hey, when we get there,
move too, to be the first team to do that.
Absolutely. When we get there, when every round we go, we're going to have the Dudley Panthers with us, and way to go Northern.
I bet some of the Dudley kids do spread out and go to games tomorrow.
They're going to Northern, they'll be at Northern.
Yeah, team backing them up. Number 16 seed CB Aycock 4-7 at the number 1 seed Southern Guilford 11-0. We'll be there at CK Siler Stadium. What about Southern Guilford and Reggie Gillespie?
Reggie Gillespie.
Here's what I wrote down today. I call this the Dudley decision. We talked about that, but I call this the playoff decision. The quarterback to the running back, you can complete that play 100% of the time. You just hand off to the running back. Quarterback to the wide receiver, you complete that play 50% of the time. Reggie Gillespie's running back, 100% guarantee. Give it to the running back.
Give it to the running back, 100%. You can't go wrong. And Andy, when we look at the last thing on this Dudley situation, that I hope that Coach Fritz and Coach Davis at some point can sit down and have a conversation and for the community and try to come to some kind of agreement here and shake hands and try to move on. But it's going to be hard. It's going to be real hard to do that.
Last game for us, High Point Andrews 5-5, defending state 2AA champion, and they'll be at Monroe 7-4. Same team they played in the championship game last year.
We have to stay over in High Point with Andrews 5-5. Andrews is a good 5-5 team, and Coach McCoy, he has playoff experience, and his team could really show what they're made of over in the team from High Point.
Dennis will close out like we do the games many times on the Friday nights. If you had to sum up what has happened this week, what we've even talked about tonight, let you sum all this up this whole 1 week in one word. What would that one word be?
I will have to go down to Duke and pick the word from the Cameron crazy. This has been a crazy stressful week for everybody. Crazy, crazy, crazy week.
I'm going to throw one word out there, turmoil.
Turmoil, absolutely.
Turmoil, I think it's correct spelling.
Absolutely.
It's been a week of turmoil.
It's been a week of turmoil, you're exactly right. And one of the things, Andy, after you have went to the precincts to cast your vote, if all of us can go to a poll and vote for Dudley to stay, I guarantee you we would win.
Still number one.
That people will keep Dudley Panthers playing football. But unfortunately, we can't go and vote. That vote has been decided, and we have to ride this storm out until next time.
If you're making a prediction, who would you pick? Tom Tillis or Kay Hagan? Just looking back at the closeout with a little happy thought there.
I'm going to say neutral, and I'm going to have to say hush.
Chelsea, give me one big word here tonight. I'm going to let you stand there and talk
One
to that
word.
microphone. Just if you had to sum up Shane's Rib Shack, what has happened today and what's happening tonight, the big thing about Shane's, and maybe even a special you might want to put out, how could you sum that up in one word? Awesome. Outstanding.
All right.
If you had to tell us one thing to order when we come back here tomorrow, when the new day starts at Shane's, what should we order on Friday?
Smoked wings.
Smoked wings, why?
Because it's going to be hot. You feel like you're at a barbecue.
For that cold day on Friday, get those smoked wings. What should we get with those smoked wings?
Get them tossed in buffalo sauce.
Buff Q. Tell us what it is one more time.
Buff Q is buffalo and barbecue.
You got it. Chelsea, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Chelsea closes us out. We'll see you again next Thursday. Last show for the fall, at least, with football next Thursday. Thanksgiving the following Thursday. Thank you, Dennis.
Always a pleasure,
Hope
Andy.
people will take this and go back to what Dennis talked about tonight. He spoke the good word and put some good things out there. We'll see you again next Thursday, Shane's Rib Shack. Football in Focus. That is it for tonight.